All right, so we're learning the Chafetz Chaim in the Tziurim. We're up to Siman Ches. He said, Aval. Okay, this is interesting. We're talking about shidduch. I know what you're allowed to say, what you're not allowed to say. If you understand, based on what's going on here, right? The father of the Kala, had promised, to support whatever, right? What he's giving. So now, question is, am I allowed to tell the chassan that I know this guy, I know the situation. He promised you that he's buying you an apartment, and there's no way. I know he's just said it to make the shidduch, but he doesn't really mean it. So it's not pashut. You could tell the chassan. You have to be misyashiv b'davar. He says, because you got to fulfill. He says a lot of conditions. That's number one. She's pointing hated shumarame bemis. First, make sure that he's planning on ripping him off. As tirvo hira, you know the guy. He's a con artist. You know him. Or he's going on the also. Or you know he's destitute. There's no way you could buy an apartment on Kol Saratskin. Or the guy told him that he's only promising it, just to make the shidduch, but he doesn't mean on doing it. And in parentheses, he says, you got to be careful not to be quick to decide that because you know that the guy isn't an offshore, he's not that rich. That certainly he's not going to give what he promised. He says the haLashon because we've seen many times that those people these people who they're not so rich, right? But they extend themselves more than they really can to keep their word, and sometimes many more than the rich people who make promises and don't do it. That's number one, right? So you have to really know the situation. Number two, and number two, you have to know that if the chassan would know that the father-in-law is not going to give him everything he promised, he would break the shidduch. The farmer says, because many times oh, that was quick. Okay. He says many times the chassan, he just wants to be able to get whatever he can out of the father-in-law. But he's ready to go, really, he'll go forward with the shidduch no matter what, even if the father doesn't give him. He says, so in such a case, it's certainly you don't have a heter to go tell the chassan that the father-in-law is not going to keep his word, because it's not a tayelis. It'd be a tayelis if the chassan would then not go through with the shidduch. But if he's going to go through with the shidduch anyways, and unless he knows that what the chassan will do is that he'll find some way of, take steps that will assure him that he'll get what the mechutin is promising. He'll get him to sign, get people have to sign, co-signers or whatever. So then it would also be a tayelis to tell him. Number three, you also have to know that the chassan side, they're not planning on ripping off the kala side. If the chassan's ripping off the kala side, just as ever says, so now they can't tell out. They're both a bunch of crooks, and you can't tell anyone. Also, the kala side. Well, Levata, besides that, besides these three conditions, Sarah Kamkin is a Shar Patamal, the conditions that we said originally. Okay, and ain't no matter the Gal Sefer, don't be so quick to, that one side's not planning on keeping their promises. Don't be quick to say I'm allowed to tell the other side. Ki imach she's bringing hate to bezek in shlomu kol drav shukasau. Then kran ishtadach limay. He says now if you already made the shidduch, they had no lachayim. Umakal fi Indian, and you assess the situation. Shamuchutin yiramas achos binyan anodan on that the mechut, that sounds like the father of the color is gonna rip off now the chassan as far as the gifts he's planning on giving, the mezainis tolibus. So now it depends. If you understand that the chassan will only take your words to be choshesh, that he'll go and get advice. How can he do it? How can he protect himself? Right? Or if he knows that the chassan won't do anything, that the chassan will go to the bezdin. So then, what the legalis loy? Ach tzarich lizar. So you're allowed to tell him, but you have to be careful. The base, but you have to fulfill the 5 conditions that we had in klal test. Gam nira the tzarich prata gimel hanal. You need the 3rd condition. Like we said just before, that to be able to tell the chassan, you have to know that the chassan the chassan side is planning on fulfilling all their obligations. However, if he sees that if I tell the chassan, he'll break off the shidduch for another reason. Also, then you're not allowed to tell him. You're not allowed to tell him. So what we learned before was before the shidduch. But once the shidduch is made already, you're not allowed to tell him if the chassan will break off the shidduch. You're not allowed to tell him because he says, first of all, it's very unusual that you'll fulfill all the conditions. And I see in the Ber Mayim Chayim, he takes it further. You have to know that it won't cause anything beyond what the Bestin would have obligated them to do if it was in Bestin. He says, and that's poshut. If they go to Bestin, Bestin would not be mafat to the shidduch. Since the arrangements were made out of Besdin, and the Mechut made a kinyan that he's going to give it, so now I want to tell him to break the shidduch. Besdin might make him pay what he said he'd pay, but beyond that, it wouldn't break the shidduch. Okay, so that's Sefer Chafetz Chaim. And now in Shmiras haLashon, hi Moshe, how are you?
I think he's frozen and I'm mute. Oh no, he's not frozen.
You're not frozen. I'm not frozen.
He's on
Okay,
mute.
so we're learning here now in Shmiras haLashon. He has like a bunch of things, a list of things that cause someone to speak lashon hara. Right. The first one was kath. He made simanim kol gehenim. Kath like tzonos gaiva yeush hefker nirgonos oimer muter. We explained kath, and we're in middle of late tzonos. He says here on Sharat Perak Gimel, what's called Ches Shvat. It's a Haggadah. He says like this: "V'nirali lefarish masha amar loshen noifer v'lo yipol." It says that I think noifer gehenim, and it doesn't says yipol gehenim. What does it say noifer? Noifer is like an act of ongoing thing. Yipol means he will fall, right? Noifer means he's like now. He's Neufel in Gehenna. I think it was Gehenna. Uh, yeah. Amrav Katina call him Sloitze, it's Neufel Gehenna. So he says over here, says the Chavetz Chaim, he wants to explain this expression of Neufel Gehenna. Machakos how grew up in Mishlei, Perik Aleph Pasukov Gimir Binyan Bale Halot. The Gra explains that when he talks about Bale Halot, so Shieshem Goydel HaTayvel Adavar Dvarim B'Teilum V'Leitzonus, that they have a tremendous desire. It's interesting to speak Dvarim B'Teilum and Leitzonos. Even though the body doesn't, you don't enjoy it. It's not like you ate a steak. Physically you have nothing from it, and yet there seems to be a taiva to do this. He says the Gra, because everything that a person does, when he wants to do something, he's given a ruach from above, spirit. And this ruach doesn't rest until it does more similar things. And from that, I guess the ruach has a nachas ruach, hey b'dvar mitzvah. If I'm doing a dvar mitzvah, so it wants to do more dvar mitzvah, or b'dvar avera, or the other side. And that's what says the Gra says what it says in Pirkei Avos, Avera Gereris, Avera Mitzvah Gereris Mitzvah, because you're given a Ruach Mishamayim, and that Ruach wants to do more. B'chol Dava Avera Shigedola, Yam Ruach Haba Mimenu Gedola, the bigger the Avera, the bigger Ruach. U'Mesava Yosel Avera Oidem wants more Avera. V'chein B'dvar Mitzvah Gedola, same thing the other way. The bigger the mitzvah, Baruch Mimakum Kodesh Moed, U'Mesava Moed, La Mitzvah. So the Ruach comes from a very holy place and desires to do the mitzvah, and then a Moed Machma Zemya Mitzvah, and has tremendous Hano. V'yadua Shemitzvah Gedolim Mekol HaMitzvah Selim Torah. The Ruach continues and says that we know that the biggest mitzvah is the Limud Torah, Lehepach. And the opposite of learning Torah is Dvarim B'Teim V'Leitzonah Shohipach HaTorah. Therefore, Yesh Hano Midvarim B'Teilum V'Leitzonah Yosem Kol Averos. Says therefore there's a very big Hano. There's a bigger Hano from speaking Dvarim B'Teilum and Leitzonos more than other Averos. Even though there's no Olam Hazeh. I didn't get a shtick of Olam Hazeh when I spoke Leitzonah. Like a spiritual Avera. It's not like ate drape, you ate something good, or some other physical desires. When you speak to Leitzonis, it's a spiritual taiva. He kamayin hanoiveya. Since this ruach hatum is so big, because it's the parallel to Talmud Torah on the Saharav, he kamayin hanoiveya. It's like a spring that's flowing. Which is the opposite of the Kedusha. When you're learning Torah, that's a Mayin in the Ve'ah. Ad Kam L'Shem. That's the words of the Gra. Okay, in Mishlei. V'yadua, says the Chavetz Chaim, Dua Chatum Anasei De Avera, Higufa Hama Aneshes Lo, Demacha B'Kira Soy Began. He says that Ruach Tumah that was created through the Avera, that's the Ruach, that's the thing that punishes you after 120 in Gehenna. And that's why, says the Chavetz Chaim, why Rav Katina used the Lashon Neufel B'Gehenna. Lashon Neufel B'Gehenna L'Harish Lana to teach us Shebe'ez Shmiras haLeitzonus, that at that point when you're saying the Leitzonus Merachiv Alav Ruach Hatuma Gedola, upon you is hovering this tremendous big Ruach Hatuma. The pasuk says "Apnei kol echav nafal" means that he dwelt with his brothers. So here the Ruach HaTuma is dwelling on you, but Gehenna B'chayev. While you're alive, Rahman, it's dwelling on you. That's what it means. Gehenna. So in your life, during your life, you're already in Gehenna. Because you have that Ruach Tuma that punishes you in Gehenna after 120. The Ruach Tuma is now your neighbor. It's dwelling upon you. So you're already Neufel in Gehenna. וכמו שכוסה בנפש החיים שער א', פרק י"ב, ומאמר השני, יש שם גם כן בקרון זה ואין כאן מוקם לו. Okay, so it's heavy stuff. Heavy stuff. The sun is like, mock things. You don't give chashivas to things. He says, "Oh, Dvarim B'Telem, just with so much of the world we do, just Dvarim B'Telem, to speak nonsense." Is he says the opposite of learning Torah, of Divrei Kedusha, and you have this tremendous Ruach Tumah. Okay, so we have to be careful. Try to be a little more careful with our words. Okay.